down. So just as I reach here, there's another form of propagating time, which is called layering, and we'll get to that in a bit. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. CountryMarro here. Today I'm going to be propagating some thyme. Last summer I did a propagation, which I have the result of that propagation right here. I'm going to take you guys in a bit closer. But since doing that, a lot of people have been asking me about propagating thyme and if I could do a more detailed video on thyme propagation. So today I'm just going to take you guys along as I go ahead and show you a few different ways how you can propagate your thyme depending on your unique location. You can go ahead and propagate your thyme by cutting, division, layering, and by seed. But as we go along, I'm going to explain it a bit more because the cutting can be done two ways. So this is the last batch of thyme that I did back in June, late May, early June, and this is what it's looking like. Everything is just overflowing with thyme. This goes to show that if you have a small space, you can grow a lot of thyme. This is just a simple little rectangular container that I picked up, and I just put some soil in it and transplanted those thyme that I had propagated. Now I'm going to take a few cuttings of these and start to do some fresh propagation. So I'm going to take you guys along with me. Before I start cutting any of these thyme, if you should go on the internet and read, it will tell you that when propagating thyme by cutting, you should cut them about 3 to 5 inches long, and you should use the non-woody part of the thyme. But I don't agree with that. Whenever I'm propagating thyme, I go for the barkier piece, the woodier pieces, and I snap them out, and then I have these woody like pieces to put into the soil. If I should go for these thinner pieces, most time the thinner pieces, they don't root as well as these woody ones. So I tend to go for these, and I get better rooting overall when I go for the barkier ones or the woodier one, the ones with the stem that is thicker. So I'm now going to go ahead and I'm going to cut a few. I don't need a lot. I think I'm just going to do like 6 of them. Here we have a cutting right here. You can see the root system. Thyme can grow as a stolon some of the time. It is not a rhizome. The difference between stolon and rhizome is that stolon grows above the earth. Like the Bermuda grass, it has stolon and rhizome, but ginger would be more of like a rhizome. It grows underground. So whenever you see it growing on top of the ground with those roots popping into the ground, in and out, that's a stolon. Rhizome is a root system or a food system growing under the ground, flat. So I think we can get enough cutting from these that I have here. I'm just doing these for demonstration purposes. I really don't need any thyme. These are going to be here for a while, and if the frost should come, I can always cover this small container here. Stolon are slender, rapidly growing stems that creeps along the soil surface, while rhizome are thicker, more robust underground stem that often store food and nutrients. Let's move across to the greenhouse and start our thyme propagation. Before we start doing our propagation, I'm just going to show you around the greenhouse. It's been a while since we have been in the greenhouse and I've made a few changes. So I'm just going to show you guys the changes that I've made to the greenhouse. Nothing big, nothing fancy. I have some birds here, 4 birds, 2 pair. So have them there. Put a few ornamental on top just to give the greenhouse a bit of life. And then over on this side now, here is where I'm going to be putting the seedling for spring grow season. You guys have already seen the rabbit hutches that I've done on this side. So we have 4 rabbits here, and this is good for the greenhouse area. Work table over on this side, and my mixing area right here. Still have a few more onions to plant out, or to be planted. I'm going to get them in ground sooner or later. This is what the work area is looking like now. So I've reorganized the greenhouse a little and put a few birds and rabbits in here to keep my company. I'm going to be starting out with the cutting, propagating method, and then I'm going to explain other methods if you want to take those routes, but we're going with cutting propagation first, then we'll move on to other forms of propagating thyme. Whether you cut your thyme from your own thyme patch and you're going to be propagating them, or you went to the store and bought thyme, it is going to be the same process basically. So you're going to come in now and you're going to select some stems, and in selecting these stems, as I said to you before, I normally go for the woodier pieces. You can go for the small ones also, they can work for you, but normally the thicker pieces normally works for me. I have some soil here. These are some old mixes from last season or from over the summer. I'm not going to do anything, I'm not going to change anything, and you don't have to put one thyme to a container. You can put multiple pieces in one container. So you're just going to select. I'm not going to be cutting my thyme 3 to 5 inches. It's going to be about 2 to 3 inches thereabout. And as I cut them, I get rid of most of the leaves because I want this piece of branch here to focus on rooting. And anyways, most of those leaves are going to die back. So I get them off and I just stick it in the soil. This is just one way of propagating by cutting. I'm going to show you guys a different way in which you can propagate by cutting. These tiny pieces, these are what the internet is telling you that you can plant, and if you do go to the grocery store and this is all you have, you still can plant them, they'll grow. It's just that I've had more success with the thicker pieces, so I'm not going to tell you that these won't grow. They do, but I've just had success with the thicker pieces. And I'm just going to put it down into the soil. You want to keep the soil moist for about 4 to 6 weeks so that they can root properly. So I'm just going to do away with all of that leafy area and I'm going to put this in ground. Let me just get off some more, and I'm putting it about 1/2 inch deep and just squeezing that soil to the stem so that it can root easily. I don't want any air pocket when I'm putting these in. This is kind of leggy. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to come in and I'm just going to layer it down. So just as I reach here, there's another form of propagating thyme which is called layering, and we'll get to that in a bit. So I have a few thin pieces here. I'm going to remove the leaves from the lower portion, so we just have that stem, and I'm going to put this into the soil. And I think I'll be just using 2 containers for this. I just might get a next container for these so that when they root I can plant them out easily in mid-February, thereabout in my location. That's when I start planting in the spring. Anytime after the 17th of February I start putting plants down, even though I can get a cold spell after that, but it's very few and far between Central Florida getting a frost after the 17th of February. It can happen, but hardly happen, hardly ever happen. So here we are, and with just a simple branch we got all these cuttings from it. So if you should go to the store and buy yourself some thyme, you can do the same thing that I'm doing here, and you can have thyme for a lifetime. Whoa, you can have thyme for a lifetime. This is just one method. I'm going to explain a few other methods to you guys. The next propagating technique is known as layering. So this is when you have an established thyme and the plant is ingrown, for example like this that I'm showing you here. Let's just pretend that this plant was ingrown. How you're going to layer this now, you're going to take these little branches and you're going to just put them into the ground. They're still on the mother plant, you're going to put them into the ground and you're just going to cover them with a little bit of dirt. And we spoke about stolons. Here is where those stolons are going to take root and start to grow, and the thyme will spread. So that is another propagation process that you guys can go ahead and use if you already have established thyme. It is much harder if you have new cuttings and trying to use this method. It's going to be much harder. Cutting propagation can be broken down into two parts: soil cutting propagation, and the next part is water cutting propagation. We have the thyme here and we're going to prepare it just as if we were going to put it into the soil. So we're going to cut it about 3 inches, 3 to 4 inches, and I'm just going to remove the lower section. Most time when you get your thyme, you also can check, because you will see little root areas on the thyme. That helps when you're planting them also. It just gives you a start. You're going to place the thyme in a container and you're going to put water in the container, or you're going to put water in the container and place the thyme in it. But you don't want all of the thyme to be submerged. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get a few more pieces, put them together, put the water in the container and allow these to root over time. So it's going to be something similar to this, and you're just going to get those stems and put them in the water. Ensure now that the entire plant or cutting is not being submerged, and you just keep them in there for a couple of weeks and they should start rooting. If the water start to grow moss on you or moss start to form in the water, go ahead, change your water. This is not the ideal container to do this, but I hope you guys get what I'm trying to explain here. So for this little amount of time, you'd want maybe a closer container that will keep them upright so that they're not fully submerged. The next propagation method is by seed, where you go ahead and sow your seeds, and that is much more challenging for a lot of gardeners. Most gardeners say that they can't propagate thyme from seed. I've done it before, however, I find these ways to be much simpler. It's like these are semi-established and you can just go ahead, put them in soil, ensure that they're watered, or put them in water, ensure that that water stays clean and that the stem is always touching the water, and they will just root on their own over time and you will have time to plant. If you're growing your cuttings indoor, gradually introduce them to outdoor condition to help them adjust before planting them outside. And for these propagation method, you don't want direct sunlight. You want to put them in a bright spot, but not in the direct sunlight. You want these to take their time and strengthen before they can take that full sun. Next thing, you can get away in starting your thyme in many different type of medium, whether it be peat moss or your starter mix. You will get away as long as you keep them moist and not waterlogged. You will get away with it. But when planting them out in their forever area, ensure that you put them in some well-drained sandy soil. They will thank you. If you're going to be starting your thyme now in late November, early December, and you're in a cold climate, you can start them indoors. If you're in a subtropical climate, what you can do is you can get a plastic bottle, you can cut the base of the plastic bottle, punch a few holes in it, and whenever you're going to get a frost, you can put that over your plants. If you can't take them indoor, you just put them over your cuttings and leave them for that period. If not, they're just a few small pots, you can cover them. My advice is take them inside until the frost has passed. Just a quick update on the front lawn before we go. The brown patches, they are going away. The Bermuda grass is growing vigorously, so it's a very fast grow. These should be out before Christmas, I hope. Fruit trees, they're coming along. Not much to say right now. It's only been a week since they have been in ground. So we just have to watch them through this cold spell, and then come February thereabout, they will start to do their thing. So that's just a quick one from CountryMarro. See you all in the next one. God bless you all. Happy gardening and cheers.